Hello everyone. In this video we are going to see about IPC, that is inter-process communication. So we already know what is process. Process is an unit of execution of a program. Okay. So here a program is an passive entity and a process is an active entity. That means these processes has to communicate with each another, then only they can achieve some notable task. Okay. So now let us see what is this IPC in detail. Okay, so now here inter-process communication is a mechanism provided by the operating system that allows the process to communicate with each other, and this communication could involve a process letting another process know that some event has occurred or the transferring of data from one process to another. For example, a process may wait for other process to complete. So they have to say, yes, I have done my work, my resource is enough for me, I am passing to you. That is one message. Sometimes I say, I have completed my work, I want to give data to you. That's one more communication. Likewise, the process need to communicate with one another so that they can achieve some notable operation or notable effort. Okay. So now let us see what are all the mechanisms and how it is being implemented in the operating system. So we can see here what is the need for this IPC is actually to synchronize the actions. As I told you, there are some cooperating processes. One process has to go with the other process to get the successful completion of a process. For that they have to get synchronized. Okay, so for that they need a message system. So that system should be able to pass the message from one process to the other process. So that they may be able to process the communication without resorting to shared variables. Okay, that means they can also share the communication by shared variables also, sometimes some other means of communication also. So here IPC facility provides two operations. What are they? Send and receive. So send is a message that one process, for example, say there are two processes in communication, P1 and P2. So P1 sends message to P2. So this message may be a fixed size or a variable size message. And then once the process P2 send the message, P1 should be able to receive the message. For that we have a function called operation called receive of message. Okay. So now if at all the process P and Q want to communicate with each other, first of all they have to establish a communication link. It is exactly like how you make a telephone call. So once you want to talk to a person, we have to first establish the call, then only you can talk with the person. Same way, if the process P want to communicate with the process Q, you should establish the communication link, and then they can exchange the data between the using the sending and the receive functions. And then how about this communication link? The communication link may be either physically made or logically made. So how it is physically made? It is physically by the shared memory or by the hardware bus. That means bus is nothing but a media. It's a media of transferring data, that is called a bus. So here the hardware bus, in the sense there are some physical wires that helps to transmit the data. The pins are available which helps to transmit the data from one message to the other message, one process to the other process. And shared memory. What is shared memory is the processors put some data in a common memory. So everyone can come and share the data. In that way, a common data that can be shared by process 1 or process 2 or process 3, in the sense that the memory is a physical memory that helps to share data among the processes P1, P2 and P3. And then logical. So what is logical properties is some communication may be logically sent, like as we learned in the coming chapters, like they're using the pipes and message queues. So they can set a queue and then they can send the data. They can again create a pipeline to send the data. There are all the logical way of sharing the data. Okay. So now this is how the send and the receive message will help you to establish a link and then communicate the data between one another or a message between one another. And then what is this direct communication is, see here, when the process send data directly to other process, it is called as a direct communication. That is called explicit communication. Okay, so in that sense, how is the communication link is made? The links are established automatically. A link is associated with exactly one pair of communicating processes. It is like a physical telephone line that is established between one person to the other person, or one system to the other system using a modem. So now between each pair there exists exactly one link. That means it is always the link may be unidirectional, but it is usually bidirectional. What is unidirectional is always data from one is always the sender, other is always the receiver. That is called as an unidirectional. What is bidirectional is both can send and receive data. So now in order to make the direct communication, the system should be able to establish a permanent link between the communication process, and then they'll be able to share the messages between the processes. Okay, and then what is indirect communication is there will be a common mailbox created, and then there are send and receive messages are available, and using this primitives, send and receive primitives, there will be a common mailbox, and then the message will be put in the mailbox. Any process can, whether it is meant for A or meant for B, they can receive the messages from one another. That is called as an indirect communication. Here there is no need of an communication link established, only the mailbox is created. It's like a buffer. It contains some data, and then after we can create a new mailbox, put some data. After putting some data, they can either receive the data, they can send more data. After the communication process is over, they can destroy the mailbox. So this is an indirect way of communication. Okay, and then let us see what is synchronization. Why here we talk about synchronization is, unless otherwise the process are synchronized, they no need to communicate with each another. So here this message processing may be either blocking or non-blocking. So what is blocking or non-blocking is, they can keep on sending data, they can keep on receiving data. That is called as a non-blocking send and non-blocking receive. What is blocking send and blocking receive is, they have to block. That means they send the data, block for some time until the message is received. Then again send some more data, wait for some time, then the message is received. Like this, it is it's a preemptive. That means it is a block is made every time there is a block. Otherwise a time lag is there to send the data until the message is received by the receiver. So they are called as a blocking send and blocking receive. So they are considered as an synchronous. Okay, because why synchronous is, they send the data, wait for some time to receive the receiver to receive the data. So they are in synchronization with each another, they are in cooperation with each another. But in the case of non-blocking message passing, it is considered as an asynchronous. That means there is no need of dependency. You keep on sending the message from the sender, let the receiver keep on receiving the message. There is no identification whether it has received or not. So that is not considered in the non-blocking way of communication. Okay, so now next one is buffering. Why buffer comes here, plays the role is that, as we have seen in the previous slides, just we are putting the data in some common mailbox. It's like a buffer only. Okay, so now queues of messages attached to the link implemented in one of the three ways. What are the three ways? Zero capacity messages. What is zero capacity buffering is, just it is called Rendezvous. The term Rendezvous is used when it is zero capacity buffering. That means here sender must wait for the receiver. That means buffer has no capacity, just send the data, and the sender should always be alert till the receiver receives the data. The next one is bounded capacity. We can pass the message of limited size, like finite length of messages. Here your sender must wait if the link is full. So now here this is of bounded capacity. For example, a buffer can hold only 4 units of data. If the 4 units of data is filled, the sender cannot send more data. So it has to wait till the receiver receive the data. Now the queue will be blank, or the buffer will be empty. Now sender can send more data. That's why we say that sender must wait for if the link is full. And then unbounded capacity is the buffer is of infinite capacity, can keep on adding the data. So the sender need not wait for the receiver to receive the data because it is an infinite capacity buffer. They can keep on adding the data to the buffer. This is so why the concept of buffer playing role here is, as we have seen, the mailbox is common, it is a buffer only, so the buffer can be of 3 different variations. Okay, and then this is about the client server communication. So far what we have seen about the process to process communication in the peer to peer system. Okay, now this is the client server communication system. What is client server communication system? This is somewhat little bit some tedious job, because here the processes in the previous things what we are saying is all the processes are in the same level of communication, but in the case of client server communication, server is the powerful one and clients are the subordinates of the server, and the server and the client has to communicate through some means of communication media. For that, these 3 methods comes under role. What is socket? So socket is like we are creating a socket like a tunnel or the passage to send the data. And what is RP is remote procedure call. Since they are remote to each other, client send a request and then it is given to the server through some means, and then server replies to the client. This is a request and reply concept. And then remote method invocation, this is used in Java. This is similar to like RPC only. In Java it is called as an RMI, remote method invocation. And then CORBA. What is CORBA? Is common object request broker architecture. This is used in the web services. And then web services is another means of communication between the client and the server. Hope you understood the concept of IPC. Thanks for watching.